You won't believe how it all went down. HOA barged into my storage barn like they own the place, grabbed my stuff, and started using it without so much as a "hey, can we?" I'm talking about this little wooden building on the edge of my property where I kept tools, old furniture, sentimental junk, basically my life's clutter. One morning, I roll out of bed, look out the window, and see a bunch of HOA board members tromping through my barn, hauling things out like it was a public warehouse or some kind of community free-for-all. No warning, no permission, just full-on invasion. And yeah, that's when my blood pressure shot through the roof, because, well, this wasn't the first time HOA Karen decided to play boss, but this one was crossing every line I thought was sacred. So here's the kicker. Karen, the self-appointed queen of community standards, had somehow convinced the other HOA members that my barn was a nuisance eyesore, safety hazard, yada yada, and since I wasn't responding to their endless letters, most of which looked like they were written by someone who just discovered the word harassment, they took matters into their own hands. Literally, they started using my barn as a storage spot for HOA equipment, lawn mowers, cones, whatever they fancied. I didn't even find out until I heard some of my neighbors whispering about the HOA's new storage barn on my property. Like, seriously? It was my property, my barn, my stuff. But apparently, in their eyes, my rights didn't count if Karen could get away with it. Now, I'm not one to lose my cool easily, but after I confronted Karen at the next HOA meeting, which, spoiler alert, was a total circus, she just smiled that fake, condescending smile and told me, "We're doing what's best for the neighborhood." Best for the neighborhood? By stealing from me? That's when I realized I had to do more than just complain. I started digging through the HOA bylaws, trying to find any crack, any loophole they might have used to justify their little heist. Guess what? There was absolutely nothing. No clause gave them the right to take over private property, no matter how much Karen wished otherwise. I even found out Karen had a history of overstepping boundaries. She once tried to fine a neighbor for unapproved garden gnome placement. Yeah, this wasn't just about my barn. This was Karen's power trip on steroids. The plot twist? My buddy Mike, who happens to be a property lawyer and a straight shooter, took one look at the situation and told me, "You've got a slam dunk case here." So we teamed up. While the HOA was busy patting themselves on the back for their community improvements, Mike and I were quietly gathering evidence. Photos of the barn before and after, HOA emails that made it sound like they owned the place, even testimonies from neighbors who witnessed the board loading my stuff into their trucks. I even recorded a few phone calls with Karen where she refused to give me any straight answers. It was like she thought if she just talked enough nonsense, I'd go away. Fast forward to the next HOA meeting, which was packed. I'm talking the whole neighborhood, popcorn-level drama. I laid it all out. "Here's proof you took my property without consent," I said, "and here's what that means legally." Karen's face went from smug to pale real quick. The community started murmuring, some folks shook their heads, and a few even spoke up about how Karen's behavior was getting out of hand. The HOA president, who had been nodding along with Karen up until now, suddenly looked like he wanted to disappear. Things escalated when a local news reporter showed up. Word spread fast, and the whole town got wind of this HOA theft scandal. Suddenly, Karen's little kingdom was crumbling in real time. The best part? The HOA board was forced to hold an emergency vote on Karen's role. Guess who lost her seat? That's right. But it didn't stop there. The county attorney got involved, citing theft and unlawful use of private property. Karen was slapped with fines so hefty she couldn't pay them without selling off her own backyard furniture. Oh, and the barn? They had to return every single thing they took. And I got an official apology, which, by the way, Karen delivered with all the sincerity of a used car salesman. The neighbors started coming by more often, offering support, sharing stories of their own HOA battles. And honestly, I felt like I won a battle for everyone who's ever been steamrolled by petty rules and power-hungry leaders. So there she was, Karen, packing up her files, leaving the community center with a forced smile, disappearing into the sunset like the villain in a B-grade movie. The crowd watched in silence, some clapping quietly, others just shaking their heads. And me? I stood there thinking about how fragile power really is when it's built on lies and theft. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night, and I want you to chew on this. Where do we draw the line between keeping a community safe and sane and trampling on the rights of the people who live there? When does for the good of all become for the control of a few? Karen's downfall was satisfying, sure, but the whole ordeal made me wonder how many more barns, homes, and lives are being quietly taken over under the guise of community standards. It's a messy balance, and maybe, just maybe, we all need to keep a closer eye on the people holding the keys before the barn doors swing wide open for good.